Hey folks, today I want to kind of show you how a continuous flow system works. Those of you that hadn't really ever seen one, it's pretty much, it doesn't matter if it's in a trash can, wooden box, whatever, as long as you can have something where the matter sits on top of it. Over a period of time, the VC goes down to the bottom, then you can harvest from the bottom. You've got a good flow through system going on. Anyway, I want to show you how they're set up. And to start with, you have the, let me show you from underneath here. You'll have any kind of harvest chamber, some way to access underneath to get all your vermicompost up from under it. You harvest a little bit at a time when it's ready, probably up to 3 months, just depends. Depends on how many worms you have, various different things. But if you go up underneath, prop the door up here. These floors you can use whatever, wire, conduit. This is weed eater string. I got a higher grade weed eater string, but in case something happens to it, I can have it where I can screw something else in here, which sometimes things will happen that you don't expect, so just kind of be prepared. When you harvest it, you're going to drag something across this here. Other setups, they have a breaker bar system that comes across. It'll usually have like a wire mesh screen, and the breaker bar rides right above where the screen is, and it'll come across, shaves a little bit, goes all the way down, and then it'll let it sit, and then later on it'll go across the other way. Now I'm going to take you up to the top. Like I say, there's no paper here yet. What you need to do is you have to put newspaper in the bottom or whatever you've got. Bring it up the sides a little bit, and then you're going to wet your newspaper down. And the best way to do it is if you have some finished VC, put the finished VC on top, and then some that's not, and then you can put your other stuff on top. I wouldn't put a pile of food on it. Just have a little bit of food in it. Wait for your worms to come. This side, I have worms coming tomorrow. It's all ready to go. And if you can kind of see, you need the paper to kind of overlap. This stuff here, I've actually got sphagnum moss. I've got shredded newspaper, cardboard. I've got cup holders, stuff like that. The paper that like egg cartons are made out of. And of course, like I say, you need to put the worms in there. It's going to take a while to stabilize, so that's a critical time. I'm going to take you and show you what it looks underneath, like underneath with the paper. Hopefully it'll come out. Anyway, you need to have enough paper down on top of these strings where the paper will last long enough for everything to start working like it should. You may have some areas that break through. Try not to panic too much, but if you get the right paper down, you should be okay. And then when you decide you want to harvest, you can always break this paper loose. Now the best thing to do is have you some kind of any kind of visqueen or plastic or something. I actually have some of these black pans here. Let me get one down here. If you kind of put those pans in there, whenever you harvest, it goes in there and you just pull the pan straight out. But you can also, if you have especially larger systems, you can take and keep, if you have some bins or whatever that has a different kind of setups in it, you can keep it underneath here and it'll actually keep it from drying out. But I mean, you could try, you know, as long as you have something down here for some, if worms fall through, it's better to have them a place to go so they don't dry out and die. I mean, depending on how much falls through, sometimes it's even better to have something with some wet paper in it in case some worms do happen to crawl down. You may save some of them. I'm hoping this setup, they don't like the feel of the foam, and hopefully they'll stay up in their home. But anyway, I also have doors that close up. It'll even keep predators out. When you're on the outside, you never know. You might have a raccoon, possum, and they'll probably scare you pretty good. Now, if you look down here, I have this little white stuff. I have diatomaceous earth down. I live in Florida. We have real bad fire ants. I'm hoping the stuff doesn't harm worms. I'm not really sure. If the fire ants happen to get in that and carry them up bins, I may have problems. But the thing is, especially in Florida, we have real bad fire ants, and they're going to go where the food is, and you know where the food's at. It's in your bin. And it's not really fun to grab a hold of fire ants. Now, a lot of these systems, instead of, you know, taking real sharp objects, messing around, it's better to let the worm sit in there. A lot of times it's better to have one of these grabbers, and that way you can just kind of move stuff over. You can take your cantaloupe or whatever, put it inside there, and that way you harm the least amount of worms possible. And then also, you don't have to cover these bins up really, but it's your preference. I prefer them to be covered up myself. And I just have some lids on it. Pull the lids down. I built this one myself because I want to do several experiments. And even these different cross beams, which this thing is 4 feet by 8 feet, I want to try experimenting with mister, stuff like that, where it's kind of a lower maintenance, because these systems do dry out. And if you think about it, you don't ever plan, but you may want to go out of town or something, and this system will be real dry in a week. You probably won't have any worms left, at least not in this system anyway. But anyway, I got the two lids closed, and let me see if I can get a better shot of the top of it, which, sorry for the traffic noise, but you know, living in the suburbs. But that's pretty much it. And of course you have the bottom, and that covers it for now.